So he looked like us, spoke like us, but for 8 years, Obama ignored us. No criminal justice reform, HBCUs left struggling, black unemployment stayed high. Then Trump stepped in and delivered. That's not a myth. Not at all. That's math. And now, black Americans are waking up.
Obama did more for white liberals, illegal immigrants, and LGBTQ activists than he did for the black community. And then you have Trump, who did more for the black community than the black guy did, and you still state that he doesn't like black people. So you voted a man into office who had the same skin tone as you, talking about how you wanted a first black president, and that first black president didn't do anything for the black community except laugh in you guys' faces. I'm here to say that if you're a black president, you shouldn't be catering to black people. If you're a white president, you shouldn't be catering to white people. As a president of the United States, you should be caring about all the Americans and how you can help them all out.
Yes.
And I believe that is something that Trump did do, because Trump is not just like, hey, I'm just helping out the black community and just doing things for black people. Trump has been doing things for all Americans. Versus Barack Obama was like, oh, I'm black and I'm going to help you black people out. And then he got in office and for 8 years he did the exact opposite. Yet there's no accountability for that. No one's calling him out. No one is stating that, hey, for a black president, you sure didn't do anything for the black community. If anything, he made it worse for black people. Obama had 8 years and he never fixed the justice system. Black men would still get an unfair prison sentence under Obama. He never passed any major criminal justice reform. During President Trump's presidency, he signed the First Step Act, and 90% of those people that got out of jail were black men. So you mean to tell me that a white man during 2 years of his presidency signed a First Step Act which released 90% of black people, and in 8 years, Obama couldn't do that? During the 8 years that Obama was in office, HBCUs struggled financially. They were having an incredibly hard time with funding, and Obama would not secure permanent funding for them. But then the white man came into office that you guys couldn't stand so much, and he secured permanent funding for HBCUs. He also signed the Future Act and met with black leaders early in his term. The black home ownership rate dropped during Obama's presidency. Black people were struggling with getting homes, and it just was not good for them during the time that Obama was president. And then Trump came into office and pushed for opportunity zones to be pushed into struggling black communities to bring investments in.
Yep.
When Obama took office, black unemployment was around 12.7%. It barely dipped below 8% during Obama's term. Under Trump's first term, it hit a record low of 5.4%. You had a black president for 8 years that did nothing for the black community. But then you have Trump come into office and do all these incredible things for the black community, and you guys are still screaming that this man is not like black people.
This right here, telling y'all that right there that we just watched, that's called realizing you've been lied to. Obama had 8 years, did nothing for HBCUs, nothing, never touched criminal justice reform. Meanwhile, Trump freed thousands of black men through the First Step Act, signed the Future Act, and pushed opportunity zones into our communities. You can love the speeches all you want, but we know that the results talk. And when Trump spoke, lives changed. Now brace yourself, because Dan Bongino just revealed what they really covered up inside Obama's FBI. This is deeper than politics. It's treason at the top.
Telling you something just crossed my feed that gave me chills. It has some dark and wide-ranging implications for what we're going to be covering in the next couple of months. Get ready for some bombshells. Dan Bongino's most chilling post yet, saying that he was shaken to the core and that Dan Bongino is literally scared about what they've just uncovered at the FBI as it pertains to deep state corruption. During my tenure here as Deputy Director of the FBI, I've repeatedly relayed to you the things that are happening that might not be immediately visible, but they are happening. The Director and I are committed to stamping out public corruption and the political weaponization of both law enforcement and intelligence operations. It is a priority for us. But what I have learned in the course of our properly predicated and necessary investigations into the aforementioned matters has shocked me down to my core. We cannot run a republic like this. I'll never be the same after learning what I have just learned. We're going to conduct these righteous and proper investigations by the book and in accordance with the law. We are going to get the answers we all deserve. And with any investigation, I cannot predict where it will land, but I can promise you an honest and dignified effort at the truth. Not my truth or your truth, the truth. God bless America and all those who defend her. Respectfully, Dan. This has been seen by 3 million people. It's got 20,000 reposts. It's only been up for like 2 hours. Right now, 94,000 likes. What could Dan Bongino be looking at? Well, I have 2 leads on this. And this, by the way, is something that is some privileged information. But what's going on right now is an enormous amount of classified and unclassified information has been sent over to the Department of Justice by the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, stamping out public corruption and political weaponization of law enforcement and intelligence operations. There's your clue. Dan Bongino's looking into Barack Obama. Dan Bongino's looking into Barack Hussein Obama and James Comey and what happened at the FBI. And he just got a motherload of information from Tulsi Gabbard, the Director of National Intelligence, and he's blown away at what he's seen and what they've uncovered internally in the building with the launch of hoaxes against President Trump and the weaponization of these federal law enforcement agencies. I think that Dan Bongino's uncovered something about Barack Obama. I think that Dan Bongino's uncovered something about Hillary Clinton. Dan Bongino obviously has also potentially gotten some new information about Jeffrey Epstein that may well be also this. I'm not telling you that I have a definitive bead on this. I'm just telling you that you can read the tea leaves, let's just say, on this kind of stuff.
Let me translate what I think he was saying. The deep state is real. Bongino, not former FBI anymore. He said he's shaken to the core over what they found. And it involves Obama, Comey, and Epstein. Documents have already been passed to the DOJ. And Tulsi Gabbard's in the loop. This is the kind of truth the media buried while Obama was getting magazine covers, y'all. Still think this is accidental? Watch this. Newsmax just connected Obama directly to a seditious conspiracy.
I hate to say this, but President Barack Obama, there is now incontrovertible evidence that he was the spearhead of a seditious conspiracy to subvert the will of the American people and overthrow the United States government back in 2016. We must, absolutely must, hold every one of these criminals accountable for the crimes that they committed. They are the most heinous crimes committed in American history. James Comey, John Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Biden was in the meeting in July 28th in the Oval Office. They briefed Barack Obama on Hillary Clinton's plan to, quote, tie Trump to Russia collusion lies. It consumed our national discourse for 5 years. It undermined a sitting, duly elected president. It sabotaged administration. It framed a 3-star general. It destroyed and ripped this country apart. We had a constitutional crisis, the likes of which I don't think any American can fully comprehend. It is atrocious, and every single one of them must be held accountable.
Yeah, and of course.
Exactly. And that's not a theory. That's evidence. They briefed Obama on Hillary's plan to frame Trump with Russia laws. He said nothing. Then they let the media spin that garbage for 5 years and beyond, destroying reputations, sabotaging the presidency, and dividing the nation all at once. They didn't protect democracy. They manipulated it. And now people are finally talking about accountability. I just hope these talks progress beyond that. And speaking of accountability, Nancy Mace is demanding what most Americans have been screaming for.
And Donald Trump, quite frankly, he's earned it. And I am so glad he's out there fighting for the American people, fighting against all of these lies and hoaxes they brought against him. And I pray, and if the DOJ won't do it, then oversight and judiciary needs to. We need to have criminal referrals, indictments, and people need to go to jail over this. And Donald Trump, quite frankly, he's earned.
That's right. People need to go to jail. Not fired, not investigated, locked up. Because what they did wasn't political disagreement. It was sabotage. Indictments aren't radical, they're justice. And if the DOJ won't act, who are the people who going to make sure Congress does? How about that? Now, if you're wondering whether Obama could ever actually be held accountable, you're not alone. Trump's lawyer just dropped the hammer. And let's just say it changes everything.
President Trump is right when he said the immunity decision would help President Obama. But you know what it doesn't help him with? Impeachment. According to the Democratic Party and the House managers in the second impeachment trial, a former president, once out of office, is still subject to impeachment. In other words, they've argued Lincoln could be impeached, George Washington impeached, and certainly, as I predicted at the time, this would come back, they would rue the day, because President Obama could be impeached if this evidence really says what it says. And that it could also strip him of the immunity, because under Article 1, Section 3, Clause 7 of the Constitution, the Democrats argued it bars one from holding further office, and the language itself says you're still subject to criminal prosecution or indictment. So we'll see how that plays out. President Trump is right when he said the immunity...
Boomerang. Democrats tried to use the Constitution to impeach Trump after he left office, but David Schoen flips the same logic back on Obama. Says under Article 1, Section 3, Clause 7, Obama can still be impeached, stripped of immunity, and face indictment. So let me ask you, if what Obama did was criminal, why shouldn't he face charges? Because of his skin color, legacy, popularity? That can't be the case these days. Because that's not how the law works. That's how corruption hides. Now, quick shout out to a real one. North Main guy 5896 in the comments suggested something very brilliant. I want to introduce Team Think 4 Times Club. Yes, you watch all 4 videos I drop each day. Hit the like button, drop a comment. No money, just movement. I'll start shouting out 4 times members in future videos, because this ain't just content, it's a mission. And I definitely will have some more shout outs at the end. Yeah. Usually at the end of every video, I never finish my thoughts. I don't know why. Anywho, Obama was a symbol, but that symbol failed the very people who celebrated it. Now, Trump never promised perfection, but he did promise results, and actually gave them. So now the media's laws are definitely collapsing. Are you still defending what Obama represented? Or are you actually ready to admit what Trump did? Now, make sure y'all follow me here on X and Rumble, at Kingdom Reacts. Drop a fire emoji in the comments if you're proud to be a team thinker. You know what I mean? I was finna say a think louder, but I don't know what happened. The brain farts is happening. This is Team Think. Let me make that clear. And we just don't react. We expose. Y'all be safe. Go check on somebody today. You could be saving their life. Peace.